G'day folks, Nat here from Living Entertainment. You may have seen our last video on the Marantz Model 30 integrated amplifier. Today I want to talk about the matching component, the SACD30n. Firstly, I want to tell you about the product and what it's actually capable of doing. Well, the biggest card here is probably the fact that it's a CD player, but not only that, an SACD player. It's also a network streamer, which is powered by HEOS. That is something that gets rolled out across a lot of Marantz and Denon products. It's also multi-room compatible as well. And on top of that, it's actually a digital to analog converter. So technically, you're actually getting three products in one here. Let's talk about the simplest part of this player, and that's the CD functionality. Now, obviously, this will play standard Redbook layer CDs, but on top of that, as the name indicates, this also plays super audio CDs as well, or SACDs if you like. Now, this is the entry point for Marantz to get into an SACD player, so it's very cool that they're still making these, even though it's a fairly niche sort of feel for people to play in. Now for using it, it's very straightforward. It is a tray load, not a slot load. So you simply put the disc in, press play, and it'll start playing. The tracks are numbered on the front along with your time into the actual track. So functionality there is pretty cruisy. There is actually one other trick that this player does do when it comes to playing CDs, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. Now I want to move on to the network streaming side of the player's functionality. When it comes to streaming, your options are vast. Not only does it do Spotify Connect, integrate Tidal, Qobuz, a vast of radio stations, it also has compatibility with AirPlay 2 and, as previously mentioned, multi-room audio. Now that is done, multi-room audio that is, via the HEOS integration. As mentioned, HEOS, or now Denon Home, is included in a lot of Denon and Marantz products, meaning that if you're playing something on your SACD30n in your lounge room, you can also be streaming it to separate speakers or other players in different rooms of the house. So literally you can have music throughout your entire home. Now the last set of features here is the digital to analog converter. Now you might be asking yourself, this is a CD player, it's also a network streamer, what else would I need to plug into this? Well, you could actually plug your TV into it, or your computer if you're wanting to play YouTube files and still wanting to have the audio come through your high quality stereo system. So certainly good that they have included digital inputs on the player. Let's take the unit up to the table, we'll look at the inputs and outputs and have a good look at the overall unit. All right, let's start over here. We have the most important button, the on button. Moving on, we have the controls here for play, stop, pause, skip backwards and forwards, or if you press and hold, you fast forward or rewind. And below that is the eject button. Down here, you'll find the input button. That'll obviously scroll through either your CD, your streaming, local inputs, etc. And that's what you use there. Over here, we have the headphone level for the socket there. Obviously in the middle here, we have the OLED display showing you what's playing on screen and your input selectors there. Above that's obviously the CD tray. Further on, there's a back button. This is the toggle button for toggling backwards or up or down through the menus, and obviously the enter button, and as mentioned before, the headphone socket. Around the back to the exciting part, at the top here and here, we have the Bluetooth/Wi-Fi antennas, and down the bottom here we have both fixed and variable outputs. So the fixed output is perfect for using on a standard line level input on the Model 30 or any other amplifier, mind you, and the variable is perfect if you've got a home theater input on your amp or you're going straight to a power amp. The other advantage of that is it allows you to control the volume in the HEOS app or Spotify Connect if you're using that. So great little functionality tool there. Sound quality wise, if you are using it with a integrated amplifier, probably the best way to go would be via the fixed using the volume control in the amplifier. but that's always up for debate, and a good idea would be to actually give it a go and see which one you think sounds the best. Here we have the USB-A input, perfect for external hard drives. So if you have files on those you'd like to play back via the SACD30n, you can do it here. Moving on is the network for your RJ45s. That's where you hardwire the device in. Down the bottom here is the flasher, or IR in if you like. So if you did want to use a remote rather than the app, or in conjunction with the app, and you also want to hide this device in a cabinet, you can put a IR flasher in here and have that external to your cabinet, which basically makes it all disappear. Next here is your RS-232 for automation, and your control links here, and this is what you use to control other Marantz products. Say for instance, if you were hooking this up to the Model 30, and when you send a signal to this via these, it'll actually trigger on the other Marantz device, so no need to go up and turn them both on. It'll do it all naturally via that trigger functionality there. Up here we have your digital outputs. Now you'd use these if you had a really high quality external digital to analog converter. The one in this is obviously very good, but certainly if you had, say, something like a Chord Dave or something like that you wanted to utilize, that's where you'd use these here. Moving on, we have the digital inputs. This one here is the PC USB input, or USB-B if you like. If you want to hook your computer up or your laptop, etc., that's the input there you want to use. You have your digital coax and 2 sets of optical. And lastly, obviously, is the power socket. Now let's move on to the exciting stuff and talk about how these products sound. Now today what we did was compared the SACD30n to separate products. Now because this is a CD player and a streamer, and there wasn't really anything at a similar price that had both of those things combined into one box, what we did is get award-winning players in their own categories. And that is the Auralic Altair G1 streaming streamer, and also the Roxanne Black CD player. Now I'll start off with the Auralic Altair G1 and talk about how it sounded versus the SACD30n. I should also mention today that we're listening through a set of Bowers Wilkins 703S2 floor-standing speakers, and as far as cabling goes, it's all Audioquest here today. We are using the Rocket 22 speaker cable along with the Red River analog interconnects. Now a link in the description will be there for you if you want to check those cables out. The first track I chose to use as a reference was Daniel Norgren, Moonshine Got Me. Something I just recently discovered and I quite like the vibe of it. Now listening through the Auralic, it was very clear and articulated. There was plenty of decay to the instruments, and I've got to say I really overall love the sound of that coming through the Model 30 amplifier. Now when I switched over to the SACD30n streaming that, it wasn't quite as open as the Auralic. It sort of, I suppose you would say, it sounded it wasn't as detailed, and the overall sound was probably more subtle and not quite as lively, I suppose would be the best way to describe it. And I've got to say, I actually sort of expected a little bit more from this player. I thought, the gap was a bit too large for me. But then thinking about it, I thought, well, is this product actually a network streamer or is it a CD player? Well, it's actually a CD player, really. That's what Marantz has done for decades, and that's what they're brilliant at. Now, to further that, I actually listened to Sade's, obviously everyone knows this song, Smooth Operator, and it was sort of confirmed there. The same findings with the Marantz being, just that little bit more veiled in comparison to the Auralic. This is when we switched up to the CD functionality. And when we did it, the difference was massive. It was, the liveliness was there, the decay came back, the soundstage was bigger, and it made me, you know, realize right then and there, that's where the differences were, is this is actually a CD player, and it is what Marantz create as far as fantastic products go. You just got to look back in their history and realize that, I mean, the amount of awards they've got for CD players is endless, and you know, I was like, okay, and it restored my faith in this product. So to further on that, those findings, that's when we really needed to hear the difference between the CD functionality of the SACD30n and another high-end or award-winning CD player, and we did that with the Roxanne Black. We put it on and the differences weren't huge, to be honest, and I gotta say the Roxanne's probably one of my favorite CD players, you know, around that sort of $6,500 price point, and this Marantz is $1,500 less, so you know, it was a bit of a win there. If I'm being, you know, very critical, I would say that the Roxanne was, you know, slightly better. I heard a little bit more pronounced bass line, but once again, those differences weren't huge, and it confirmed my theory on, you know, Marantz creating fantastic CD players. So I was very happy there. With that being said, who's this product actually for? Well, obviously, if you have a Model 30 integrated amplifier, here's your perfect match. But if you're somebody that still really values playing CDs, this is the perfect product there. Once again, I'll mention it. Great CD players from Marantz, no difference here. Maybe you're somebody that does also want to dabble in streaming, you know, maybe it may not be your main source of music, but you'd like to get into it and you happen to need a CD player. Well, there's the gap, you don't have to buy 2 boxes. Maybe you also want to integrate your TV sound through it or hook your computer up. It also does those sort of functions as I previously mentioned. So realistically, I think this product hits a sweet ground for a lot of people. Not everyone wants a million boxes laying around these days, and this product does happen to have a lot in the one. Its main functionality though is obviously the fact that it plays CDs and SACDs. That's where I would say this product shines. It's just a bonus that it does those extra things. Also, when you pair this up with the Model 30 integrated amplifier, it really creates a versatile pair. Now, I believe they just won the ISA, or the European Image Sound Award product for Best Stereo System, so we're certainly not alone in thinking that this is a great combination. When you combine the streaming, the CD, the DAC, with the amplifier, with this fantastic phono stage, which I previously talked about, it really is a powerful combination and a beautiful one. Let's be honest, you know, we all want to look at something that we love the look of, and I think Marantz have really done a great job here, as previously mentioned. So it's a compelling package, and if you're thinking about it, please feel free to get in touch with us. You can visit www.lenc.com.au and hit the message us button, and we'll jump on that and answer any questions you may have. Now, additionally, guys, if you have liked this video and you are thinking about buying one of these products, please consider buying it from us. It's how we continue to do these videos, through your support. So once again, guys, thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.